Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to the third live stream of the TWS Pro Slalom Trainings 2023. One small notice before we start completely. There are some new regulations here in Medano with the parking vans. The police already passed by this morning, so let's hope they stay away, that we can do our thing and can entertain you with the training during this day. The plan for today is to do 2x7 races. First possible start will be at 11, but as you might have noticed already, it's 11 and Gia is still anchoring the boat and there are no riders on the water yet, so we will have some time. Something different today, we have some extra things like insights from different kind of people, such as Harco Jan Volkerts, the owner of the TWS rental station, duathlon rental station, and also man behind the slalom trainings. Eva, who's organizing the trainings, and then some of the pro riders. We keep that as a surprise a little bit. So we will go now to the interview with Harco, and then afterwards we come back to you.
The trainings all started in 2015. It was already initiated by Andrea Kuki and some other riders in 2013. They started. And in 2015, some of the riders like Matteo Iachino, Jori Fonk, Marco Lang, Maciek Rutkowski, Alberto Menegatti, who unfortunately passed away here during the trainings in the evening. They came up to us in the center because they were having a problem with the race director or the trainer, the current trainer doing it back then. And they asked us if we wanted to start up the trainings with them, because we were already with the center and with slalom gear, and I was racing myself a bit. And well, I thought it was a good idea. So very naive, we bought a small boat. It was 1 week before I left, because I live in the Netherlands, and they just came up to me like, "Hey, Harco, we have a problem. We cannot train anymore. Blah blah blah. But we're here now. So can you help us?" Okay. Called Greg Kettenbach from Fanatic for some buoys, some marks, and we had to find a boat. So very naively, we bought a small boat. And Guillermo, who was the center manager, I still smile because it was a funny episode. He is still the center manager here. Asked him like, "Hey, you have a driver's license for the boat. Do you want to be in the boat and everything?" And from that we started, just with no knowledge, a lot of motivation, and 7 guys who wanted to race here. And that was a start in 2015. Now it's 2023, so it's the 8th season we're doing it, and it has been a big journey for us. I think all the guys riding here, training with us, from let's say late December, before we started, like sometimes before Christmas. Now we always start around the 4th or the 5th of January, depending the calendar, but always after New Year, and then till a week before Easter. And all the guys really improved. I mean, from the guys back then, unfortunately, Alberto passed away, but Maciek, Matteo, Jordi, they all became world champion. Marco Lang was very successful, retired from racing. Maciek obviously became last year world champion. And somehow, it evolved. I mean, Guillermo, which is now the race director, he's 4 days or even more per week in the boat. He does an amazing job. I often hear from the riders that sometimes he's a better starter, or the starting procedures are better than in real life, like in PWA racing season or IFCA or other competitions. So yeah, that's a big compliment, and we still like what we do. It's grown more professional. We have Eva, who does all the work behind the scenes with registering, airport transfers, bookings, and everything. Guillermo's fully motivated on the boat, 35 knots out there, anchoring all day, not getting seasick, and running the start. So yeah, it's a pleasure, and it helps the center as well in terms of marketing and getting known all over the world by the trainings. But mostly it's for the passion of the sport. We don't earn money with it. It's just a a thing where we're very passionate about, and it's nice to see all these races like Antoine Albo, up to newcomers, youngsters like 17, 18 years old wanting to race. So yeah, it's a big pleasure, and conditions are always great because we have like high upwind or high winds till 40 knots, 40 plus knots, still 15, 16 knots, and now with the foiling, there's a new era coming. So yeah, I think the training makes sense for most of them.
I just took the training over last year, like in the middle of the season. Honestly, it was a huge challenge for me, but was super nice. In the end, like I grew into it, I got to know the guys. It was really a super nice experience. And now this year, I do everything from the beginning on. So I do the transfers, I do the bookings, I do the communication with Guy and with the riders. And also this, like super fun. Like for me, this is like a perfect job actually. Like I get to know the riders, I'm like in a lot of contact with them, and still like I get to know what's happening in the water, and I'm very much involved in like all of this process. So the transfers, I do it with a team like Jacob and Matthew. It's super simple actually. Like in the end, we always get like a request, and then we will like talk with a team about who's going to do the transfer, and then they will do it. So you will be sure that for sure there will be a transfer for you. And the groups is always like a little bit a tricky one, no? Because you never know like how much the guys were improving. Of course, you always have like the top of the top, and you always put them like in this one group. Those are the easy guys. The more difficult guys are the guys who are coming like new, the guys we haven't seen before. We don't know how they're handling the conditions here. So this is like always a little bit of a challenge to bring them into the groups. But in the end, also, you always communicate with them. You always communicate with the other riders. How was it? How was your training today? And if you do that on a daily basis, then usually you really get into it like super quick. So if you want to enter, we have a website. You go on the website, you book the training. You will get a mail with like the confirmation, everything. In this mail, you can like click a link, and then you will get to your rider's login. And in this rider login, you can basically manage everything. Before we had like everything like a little bit on different clouds and whatever, and now everything is in one website. So that means your transfer booking in this website, your storage booking in this website, all your photos in this website too. So this one is like really making this work so much easier, and also for you so much more controlled and so much more easy to access. See you soon.
So here we are back again. In the meantime, already the starting procedure for the first race has been started. So we are already getting to the first start of the day. But yeah, as we have seen just before, Harco Jan Volkerts, the owner of the TWS Windsurf Solution rental station and duotone station as well. He explained a little bit about the early days of the training that we started in 2015 in a really small scale with only a few riders, but not the smallest riders. Actually, one of the, if you check nowadays, let's say all top 10 riders. And it's really funny to see how it evolved in the last 8 years. We have become quite a lot bigger, the groups have become bigger, the training has been pushed to a different level, and yeah, it's just the place to go during winter if you want to prepare yourself for the upcoming race season. And it's funny how Guy started on the boat, not knowing at the beginning like what he was, what should face him in the end, like during a day. But yeah, he managed to get himself to a level that everybody is trusting him. He's not making a lot of mistakes during a winter. If he would make like 5 wrong calls, so over earlies which are not over earlies, or the other way around, it would be a lot. He has a really sharp eye and good decision making as well. So that was the part of Harco. And we also went straight into the interview with Eva, who is now the project manager for the slalom trainings. So basically what she is doing, she is working on the background already from let's say around summer, to prepare everything for the upcoming winters, for the trainings, which means writing all the texts and for the writer's document. I'm gonna interrupt this part for now because we're gonna go to the first start of the day, and it looks like it's a good start. We didn't even went over the groups, which we can do now, and I have to take my list for this. But they are flying. It's mainly foils today, as the wind is like around 22, 23 knots. So we can see in the screen now the groups. We have Mark Palmer, Matteo Aquino, Sam Stroosma, Michel Becker, Scott Harrison, Hugo Schauberg, Ennio Dal Pont, Enrico Marotti, Jordi Vonk and Bruno Martini. This is the only group we're gonna have today, as we are running to the end of the trainings, and which means a lot of people have left the island already in the last weeks, since the last live stream basically. And the groups, they will get smaller, and yeah, we are just in the last 2 weeks of the trainings. But it doesn't mean that, ooh, that was really close from Bruno, or is it Enrico? It's really difficult to see on the small screen here. But they're flying. Looks like in the end someone is going really far downwind and the rest of the pack is going somewhere else. Pretty wide jibe on the outside. All the other riders, they are gone basically. It's a bit difficult to see where they are going. I think he went to the wrong buoy because it looked like it was pretty far downwind. But here there's the rest of the pack riding towards the third jibe mark on the inside, with Jordi Vonk leading the pack. Then it's quite difficult with the light at the moment to see the sail numbers, but we are Michel Becker, I'm pretty sure he's in second, fighting with Jordi. Then we have on the other duotone, that must be Hugo, and then we have followed by the Severn from Matteo Aquino. So Jordi jibing around first, then Michel, then it looks like, by the looks of it, it's Hugo, and followed by Matteo and Bruno. So Bruno made actually a pretty good recovery from going straight to the last mark from jibing and coming back to the race. As you can see, the course is quite small today. We do this especially because for the live stream, normally the course is further outside, which means for the live stream it's a bit more difficult to get like a proper image of the racing. And now we are pretty close to the shore, which makes it that the course is a lot smaller, and so the races will be quite quick. So that was already the first race of the day. So also today, as you might have noticed, the last 2 times we had a co-commentator, but unfortunately he was not able to come. He is already in Chile for the IWT PWA. So it's gonna be me only today, but together with Team Noer, with Finn Noer and Jane. Freya, the other camera girl, she already left back to Denmark. So it's a small team today, but we hope we can bring the action to you in the best possible way. And in the meantime, the guys are sailing upwind. We can listen to an interview with Maciek Rutkowski.
Yeah, so my 2023 preparations started here in Tenerife with the amazing training that we have here. I mean, we had probably 6 out of last year's top 10. here training together on the race course every day. I was personally really focused on figuring out my gear, wings, masts, foils, whatever, all this thing. And now we're at the end of March and I'm about to leave the island, and I'm really stoked with how everything is going and, you know, about the progress. I mean, you don't really focus on results in training, but you want to see progress in understanding the gear, you know, in your confidence with the starts, with jibing, with all these race situations, you know, how to do your lines, what is your strengths, what is your weaknesses, how to address those weaknesses, etc., etc. So basically, yeah, trying to figure things out. Yeah, so for this year we have one less wing, so we have only 2 front wings, which changes the game quite a bit, and this was a big part of the process, trying to figure out how small of a wing you can use in light wind and how big of a wing you can use in strong wind, and which fuselages go with that, and which back wings and whatever. And I'm not gonna say I have it all figured out, but I'm definitely closer to the solution than I was 2 months ago, for sure. Yeah, so I'm not really too focused on the other guys. I mean, I know that if I do everything to the best of my ability, I can win. After last year, I actually have really no excuse in saying that I don't have the confidence or whatever. It's, you know, kind of proven that I can do it. But yeah, obviously there is probably, you know, at least 5 guys that can say the same. Or probably there is, you know, there's 2 world champions that can say the same, and 3, 4, 5 other guys that you know, that can definitely do it if they tune the gear right, if they race well, etc., etc. So I can't really control any of them, so I try to focus on myself, and if I do everything to the best of my ability, I'm not worried about the result. Right now we go probably up until about 25 knots on foil, and then on fin. Once you're powered with 6/8 and small board, you are competitive on the fin as well. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to Pozo and Fuerte. This will probably be, you know, the events I'm looking forward to the most, and because of the mix, and because of the conditions, and because of, you know, having an extra dimension to the tour, let's say. I mean, last year actually the title got somewhat decided in fin conditions, when there was one semi-final that I made and Matteo didn't, and we were both on fin. But to add even more and to kind of have the most well-rounded person win is always a good thing, for sure. I'm looking forward to the competition. That's gonna be from May till the end of November, you know, to have that kind of ongoing contest and one-upping each other. And you can see, like, even last year you could see from contest to contest, like, I improved a lot from Croatia to silt, and other guys improved a lot from silt to Japan, and, you know, everybody figuring little things out and improving and improving and improving. And at the end of the year, you know, the competition is at such a high level that I'm really looking forward to be a part of it. It's great to be on the forefront of such high-end, you know, high-level competition, for sure.
So there we had the interview with Maciek Rykowski, the 2022 world champion. Basically talking a bit about his winter season, why he's here, what he's doing, basically. So figuring out the material and the weaknesses he has for now. and where he can work on to become even a better sailor than he already is. And also like to figure out the material he's going to register during the year, as the whole system with like foils and fin, it has become quite a bit more interesting and a bit more challenging to choose the right gear. And meanwhile, we're watching already to the start. We're watching the start of race number 2. The guys are lining up, and as you can see, it's like quite a lot of pin end starters. Looks like we have a good start. They are off for the second race. Ooh, little bit of control problems there on the lower reach from Bruno Martini. Then upwind from him, or a bit in front of him, actually, Jordi Vonk. By the looks of it, they are sailing on the smaller boards. Oh, look, another Neil Pride on the bottom. So that must be Enrico. Jordi rounding first, followed by Enrico and Bruno, and then Michel on the back as well. Those guys are flying. Well, there's a bit of a mix in board sizes as far as I can see, because Jordi, by the looks of it, is on the smaller foil board. It is around an 80, if I'm not mistaken. It's quite difficult nowadays with all the material on the market, what they're using, and I should do some more research on that. Ooh, someone going down, losing it a little bit. But still in the lead, Jordi. Then behind, Enrico. In third position, must be Bruno. And then it's a bit of a mix in fourth. But by the looks of it, it looks like Michel is pushing for fourth position. And basically some insight on the conditions. We have around 20 to 25 knots, more or less. You're already going for the jibe, rounding first as well. Yeah, so like basically 21 knots to 28 at the moment. We're sailing upwind from Cabezo, so we have no other people on the course, no wing foilers, no kite surfers, no other windsurfers. It's much more secure for everyone, so they can push without having to go to do slalom within a slalom course. So on the outside mark, it's Jordi still leading. He's gonna take this one as well. Then it's Enrico, followed by Bruno Martini, and so Michel goes down by the looks of it. No, Michel is behind it. It's quite difficult here because they don't all have the sail numbers in, and we are watching on a very, very small screen. So my apologies already if I get it wrong sometimes, because I know that you people at home can watch on the big screen and can see it even better than I do. And one little thing I would like to tell is, if you have any questions, any comments, there are actually two ways to send them to us. You can go to the Facebook page of the TWS Windsurf, or the other option, which is even better for Finn. You go to the Stream Factory, it's called, on YouTube. You subscribe, and then you can leave your comments over there, and we can see them and we can react on them, and it makes it also a bit more, bit nicer to have some more interaction from you people at home. So yeah, now we finished the second race already of today. It goes quite quick. Compared to the last weeks, we had 2 or 3 groups. It would take a lot more time, definitely a lot more time. But now we are on only 10 or 11 people on the course, which means it's just back to back races. You can push out, like, I think in 1 hour they will finish around 7 races already, because it's just if there are no over earlies, they can push, and there are all skilled riders here on the water, which means when they finish the race, they can go back up into the boat really quickly to start the next starting procedure. and talking about the starting procedure. For the people who don't know the starting procedure and are new to slalom, I guess like most of the people which are watching, they are already familiar with it, but we can at least go through it for the people who don't know. So we have Guillermo on the boat. That's our race director, who is has been there, as you have seen in the interview with Hark, 15, running the starts, 4 days on the water. In the beginning they were doing like 20 races a day. Now a little bit less, but it would not say that it's less intense, because they are doing three series of 5 races back to back. So back to back meaning they do one race, they go back straight to the starting boat, and they do that 5 times. And then they have a pause in between. Meanwhile, we have the group again on the screen, so you can see who is participating today. And there are quite a lot of guys on the duotones, I have to say, because Ennio, Jordi, Hugo, they are all on the duotone sails. So for sure I will have it wrong sometimes. Then on the Neil Prides we have also quite a lot of people, because we have Bruno Martini, Enrico Marotti, we have Scott Harrison on the Neil Prides as well. So it's a bit of a mix. But yeah, starting procedure, it's 4 minutes. And from the 4 minutes counting down to 0, the whole goal of the training, or like of racing, of slalom, is to pass the starting line at 0 with the highest speed possible. And on the level where the guys are racing on, so like on the professional level, a second makes a huge difference. If you don't nail your start, if you are a second late, the chance of winning a race, or at least to get yourself into the next round, the chances are getting down quite significant, because you have to push. Everybody is quick. The only chance you have is that someone falls in at the start, but that is at the first driving mark, I want to say. That is something that doesn't happen very often. So basically starting is one of the most important things in racing. And then if you, there are a lot of more aspects, of course, but starting is one of the biggest things. So 4 minutes counting down, flags, they come with it. It's at 4 minutes we have a red flag going up. Then at 3 minutes the red flag going down. Then at 2 minutes the yellow flag going up. At 1 minute the yellow flag going down. And then at 0 the green flag goes up. And of course sometimes it happens that someone is passing the line too early, and then we would do a general recall, it's called. Then all the guys have to come back, and then they will start. The procedure will be different, because the starting procedure then will be 3 minutes to 0. And so yeah, to save time as well. The guy who's normally over early in real life racing will be disqualified for that round. Also during the trainings, if you are over early, you're not allowed to do the restart of the race. And if you have 2 or more
What's up?
hey, we have Matteo Aquino here. So basically I'm a little bit confused right now. But yeah, with the starting procedure, the thing is, like, if you are over early twice during the trainings at least, you're also disqualified for the whole round, for the whole series. So there are some rules. It's quite easy to follow all of it, especially also when you're training here. Once over early, you just wait upwind from the boat till the next race. So like if they would go over early in race 1, they would do the restart of race 1, and then they can join in race 2 again. So only some small rules here back in the trainings. So that's one of them. And then you also have the coming on time. That's one of the most important things, because GIA is really strict about that. If you're not on time for the first race of the series, you're out for the series directly, and you can join in the next series. So it's really important that that you are on time, because in real life racing, also when you're late, you're out most of the time directly. So now we are already into the next sequence, The yellow flag is already up, which means we are between 2 and 1 minutes, so we are getting close to race number 3. I have to keep counting because it goes quick today. And meanwhile, let me see, I got a message somewhere, I saw it coming in via the messenger from the TWS stream. Let me find that one. So towards race start number, like the start of race number 3 is coming up very soon. And meanwhile, I try to figure out, I saw a message coming in from, I see here on YouTube, I see one from François Pettorelli. I'm sorry if I pronounce it wrong. The conditions, well, the conditions, they are between, let's say, 20 to 28 knots at the moment. It looks quite flat. Can be quite different if you're out there on the water. Most of the times it is like that. You see it quite flat on the water from the shore basically, and when you go out it can be that there's big swell. But by the looks of it today, it is kind of flat. So yeah, the conditions 20 to 28 knots. During the day the wind will drop, but that will be after 2 o'clock more or less. And we're going up to the start of race number 3. Let's see if the guys start properly without general recall. Green flag is up, so it means it's a good start. Again, you must expect at the end of the winter that those guys can nail the starts every time and not going over early. I think at the beginning of the season it's always a bit more, there are always a bit more over earlies, also depending on the conditions, if it's gusty, choppy or whatever. It's always challenging. But yeah, you can really see the difference between the beginning of the season and the end of the season. So going up to the first mark, leading Jordi Vonk again. Then Enrico behind him, Michel. Ooh, and they go down. That was like, it's a bit difficult. Sam is the Dutch guy on the back, on the loft sails. It's quite small sail actually. So the fight is still on the front, but it looks like Jordi Vonk has his gear tuned up pretty good, and he's also a free man for now again, because his family just left the island yesterday, so he can focus. Well, he could focus already the whole time on his racing, but now it's more only racing and that's it. So he dropped to second position, with Enrico being in first, Michel in third position. I have to mention again, like, Michel has been improving a lot, and like it's really good to see him on the, yeah, like in the top positions, basically battling with the top guys, the top 10 guys of the PWA, and hopefully he will become one of them as well, and if he's going to join the whole season. So we are going to the last jibe mark on the outside. Positions are still the same. Enrico first. Oh, let's see. It's a bit of a difficult angle to see now. I think you already passed him right now. Then we have Enrico, and then we have Michel in third. And then in fourth, well, there Sam is coming. Sam Stroosma from the Netherlands. A young guy coming up. And the rest just fell into at the first jibing mark. And maybe you would think like, but yeah, why you don't continue? There's still something to win. Well, depends. You can go and push for it, but the speed those guys are sailing with, it's like, yeah, oh, it's a nice battle for first and second, but Enrico has it for sure. Jordi in second, and then in third, where's Michel? Yeah, Michel's coming up there as well. Yes, Michel in third position. That was some fun racing to see. And then we also, meanwhile, they have to still open it again, but we have another interview with Blanca Alabau.
My preparation 2023 is like last year, I guess. I'm coming here to Tenerife for the TWS Pro training. I'm doing like 4 days in the water and trying to do 4 or 5 at the gym, or doing some other activities like surfing or wave sailing. And yeah, the gear for 2023 changed a lot. The sails and the boards are completely new. Our board have a new tail that is called a water drop tail. That's making the board more aerodynamic, and also the sails are more stable. So we need to get used to it because it's more tricky to jibe, are more unstable, a little bit tricky, but they're going really fast. So yes, training with the guys sometimes is super nice, sometimes not. They are really aggressive, and I think if a girl is in front, they are even more. They are pushing in the jibes, pushing in the starts, and they are slightly faster than I, especially in some conditions. So I have to push everything. Yeah, my opponents this year for the world title is really tricky. Like top 5, 10, we are really close. Especially the Frenchies are really strong. So I'm trying my best and hope for the best. For 2023, I'm looking for more events because the past years we didn't have that much, so it was hard to push and show everything that we learned. So I'm hoping for the events that they confirm already. We're gonna have light, we're gonna have strong, waves, flat. So I think it's gonna be a nice tour this year. It depends, fin or foil. I like it both. Depends on the conditions, I would say. I really like high wind foils, but also training in the fin here and the jibes and the fights are really nice. Yeah, like in top 5 could be many girls, like the Frenchies, as I say, Delphine, Marion, Justine now, the upcoming girl, she's really strong, but also Hele or Sarah, they are really fast. Sarah Jackson as well, Jenna, the English, so yeah, it's big group of girls, so it depends on the condition, I think. Someone is going to be up or another.
Yeah, no, it's super interesting. Yeah. No, but that was all.
Thank you.
I think we got some 2 or 3 minutes now.
So that was the interview with Blanca Alabau, one of the ladies who, well, I have to say, the guys, they have to push sometimes to stay ahead of her. So for sure she is in contention for the world title. For sure she's gonna be one to watch. Has been here already for many winters and improving her riding a lot. As she says, or said in the interview, like that the guys are a bit more aggressive in the jibes. Well, it's true. they are going for it full power. But we have seen quite a lot of women joining the training as well in the last years. And I tell you, they're all good sailors, and some of the guys, they have to really fight to stay in front of them or even to catch up with them. So it's really good to see the girls also pushing hard. And yeah, let's see what it's gonna bring this new season, this 2023 season. As Maciek already said before, it's a long calendar we have. Starting basically from May until November, he said, and of course we have to see if all the events are gonna happen. If they happen, the guys are gonna have a lot of events to fight for the world title, which is gonna make it also a lot more interesting to watch, because with so many events on the calendar, you will also have discards. So it's gonna be, I think 2023 is going to bring us a lot of good action. And then mainly also the fin events in Pozo and Fuerteventura, they are going to be super cool to watch. I didn't do my research on when was the last time that they raced in Pozo, but it has been already a very long time ago. And as you might know, a lot of people might know, is that Pozo, Gran Canaria is like nuclear during summer. Like 40, 50 knots is something very common there. If you have like light wind days, like you would call 20, 25 knots is light wind day there. Which in El Médano basically is already a good day. So you have a little bit of a differences. It's just the acceleration of the wind on Gran Canaria. It's completely different to what we have here on Tenerife. So we can expect some really nuclear high wind racing on Pozo. Meanwhile, we are watching the guys out on the water here in El Médano. This is race number 4 already, and we are between 2 and 1 minutes at the moment. Counting down to 0, and make sure that you're fast on the line. That's what it's all about. So until now, we are very happy with how it's going, and I'm talking about like the police which showed up this morning. Until now, they stay away. So let's hope they stay away for at least another 30 minutes, 40 minutes, so we can do our thing, which is entertain you at home, to bring you live action from Tenerife, from El Médano, to your sofa, to your lounge outside, depending on where you're watching, if it's evening, if it's day. Already very much appreciated that you're watching. Meanwhile, lining up for start number 4, round number 4. It's a good start again. I say again because sometimes it can be different, that you have a few general recalls. Ooh, someone almost goes down, lost control. So yeah, that you can have quite a lot of general recalls, and well, this is fun to watch because someone, he's losing it. He goes down. I think it's Enrico going down there. And then the fight is on. Looks like Jordi driving first, then in second. Oh no, sorry, I made a mistake. That's Enrico, followed by Matteo. Who's gonna check up on Bruno if he's okay? Okay, then we go. Oh, now Enrico goes down full power. Let's see what's going on there, because the guys are all worried about Bruno. What happened? Really beautiful thing to see, a good thing to see. Like, all the riders here, they are biggest rivals when it comes to racing, the competitions, but they also take care of each other a lot. You know, like they want to make sure that everybody's fine. That like if there are crashes, that everybody's checking in on each other, and that's a good thing. Well, it's funny to see like biggest rivals, but they're also biggest friends on the shore, and that's what it also makes beautiful here in Tenerife during winter. As someone who organized the training, I have seen like a lot of people coming here to train with us, and it always brings a really nice ambience to the little town actually. And so that starts normally in the beginning of January. It starts slowly, and by the end of January, it's already quite busy on the water. But yeah, like the ambience it brings, the guys are super relaxed on the shore. And yeah, it's really nice to see. They take good care of each other, and luckily we didn't have too many big crashes on the on this winter season. There were a few, but not very like major injuries. So now I don't know what happened. Looks like, by the looks of it, Guille took the boat off anchor to go and check Bruno. So the guys will go back to the shore to grab some water, take some rest. And meanwhile, we have an interview for you with Jordi Vonk.
Yeah, I basically prepared my fin and foil racing basically
using just the equipment I expect to registrate. I'm open enough to tell you that I will registrate my small slalom board, then an 81 foil board, 91 foil board, and for the sails 5.8, 6.8 fin sails, and 5.4 up to 8.7 foil sails. So that's actually all I've been using. I didn't go out on a medium slalom board. I didn't go out on a 4.4 foil sail. No, really just use the stuff that I expect to use in racing. And beside that, really pushing myself on the foil. You know, I know what I can do on the fin. I know on the 6.8 and small board, I know I'm fast. So, you know, if it's on the edge conditions, I went out with the foil to push my own limit and make sure I progress where I needed to progress the most. I mean, the TWS Pro Slalom training concept has been delivering for, I don't know how many years now, 9 years. It proved itself over and over again. There's plenty of examples, but if we take the most current one, last year's ranking 1, 2, 3 were 3 riders which were here all winter long for plenty of years, you know, and therefore there was not a single moment I doubted to do anything else than this winter than to come here and do the trainings like we were used to do them. I mean, in terms of development here on Tenerife, we've been working the most on the foil. We have new rules coming up with 2 front wings instead of 3. So it was really trying to figure out, okay, what kind of sizes do we need? How small can we go? How big can we go? How, can we kind of implement these rules in the best possible way? Which, to be really honest, is still tricky. I still don't know, to be really honest. But yeah, I mean, doing competitions and trying things in competitions, which we do here, is the best way to figure stuff out. So for sure, I think, we at least tried.
In the racing this year?
I mean, I think there's 10 guys who are able to make it on the podium. I think quite some guys stepped up their game, which makes the group even tighter together. And I mean, from the guys here, just to name a couple, you know, Enrico, who won the last event, will be there. Matteo, the most stable guys in the recent years, will be there. Pierre Mortefon obviously is stepping up again. Maciek, the current world champion, never looked slow. Probably forgetting some names. I myself feel more competitive on the foil than I did last year, so I expect to be more in the game than I was before. So yeah, again, and definitely forgot some names. There will be plenty of guys to look out for. I mean, we have some new events, which is exciting. You know, like Pozo, high winds, known to be a gnarly place. Look very much forward to that one. Garda, I mean, I've been to Garda so many times in the recent years, especially now as I'm often in Austria. It's only 3.5, 4 hours away, so I love to prepare there. I had some good results recently in the 1 hours there, so yeah, I hope I can bring forward that line in terms of results in the World Cup too. So I think the new events is what I look forward to most. Yeah.
What do you prefer?
What do I prefer, fin or foil? I mean, it both has its charm. You know, like I love to go out on the 5.8 full power conditions with the fin. Being on the edge of control in unbelievable, crazy conditions. But in the meantime, the foil is growing so fast, it's exciting, and you learn so much new every time. And every time I watch my GPS, I'm like, fuck, I went faster than ever before in the race, you know. So so now I'm not gonna call one or the other. I do expect the foil to take over completely, because I think even now with the PWA changing to 2 front wings instead of 3, I think we're almost not going to notice it. I think we are starting to understand this foil so much better. We are improving ourselves so much. They're becoming more and more stable, so we can push more and more. And I think trying to limit the foil is almost not working anymore. You know, one way or the other. All we will do is try to find another way to still be on the foil all the time, because we know if you can make the foil happen, it will beat the fin, which is a bit of a shame, to be really honest, you know, but it's different, you know. There is no compare, you know, like a Formula 1 car will always be faster in the corners than a MotoGP bike, and this is a little bit how I look at it with the fin and the foil. You know, I think I'd just like to mention that Guy is an absolute freaking legend. You know, how much he's been working for us on the water, how many hours. There's been days he's struggling with the anchors, you know, like we cannot have enough respect of what he's doing and how much he's helping us. So definitely that's one thing I like to mention. You know, I think in the pre-COVID times, it was always the top three, which was very close, like Antoine, Matteo, and Pierre. They were kind of the fixed three, and I think we will not see that anymore. You know, I think this year it will be tighter than ever between 10 guys or maybe even more. So I think it's going to be one of the most exciting years to follow, and I hope you will all watch and see what's going to happen.
So there we just had the interview with Jordi Vonk, and we had quite a funny scene with Bruno coming in pedaling with his mast. So yeah, Jordi is actually here. He explained us what happened. Bruno broke his mast, unfortunately. It's not the first time it happens, you know, but at least everybody's checking in on each other, as I said before, to make sure everybody is safe. So also we got some insights from Jordi, which is really nice. He just told us the equipment he's using, the 81 foil board with a 5.4, and he just told speeds like 32.7 knots, which is around 60 kilometers per hour. Those guys are fast, you know. During racing, clocking 37, and in the waves, it's incredible. And we have been talking about it already in previous live streams, that the foil aspect is like physically it's less intense, but mentally it's so much more intense because you're correcting, like making micro adjustments the whole time. So mentally those guys are really destroyed at the end of the day on the foil. Physically it's a different thing. Of course, forces are different. If you're fin sailing, the forces on your body are much bigger. But yeah, on the other hand, crashes with the foil, I don't want to think about it. But yeah, it's good to hear Jordi talking about in his interview about the whole setup, about the trainings, that they can test everything. And yeah, like the new rules of only registering 2 front wings, which makes it quite interesting, you know, like what are you gonna register, knowing, like I know a little bit of the lineups, the material lineup of F4, which Jordi is using, and Thomas is using, Ennio is using. There are quite a lot of guys on F4, and they have a lot of wings in their range, so it must be quite difficult for them to really choose the right gear for the season. But I think after 3 months of Tenerife training, those guys, they know what they have to register, what they use the most, and basically saying goodbye to the medium slalom board. That's it's quite interesting. Also, Maciek mentioned before in the interview that like until 25 knots they are racing on foil, which compared to, let's say, 2-3 years ago, the limits were quite a bit lower. You would see still the medium board fin going out, but like at the moment, medium board fin, it seems to be history for now for when it comes to racing, to high level PWA racing. So that's a pretty interesting interesting thing. Also, Jordi talked about like the contenders for the podium, which can be, well, at least the 10 guys, if not more, which have been here over the whole winter season, and it's just incredible to see how fast those guys are. And yeah, it's really incredible to see how fast these guys are. Meanwhile, we see Bruno running, get his new mast to get back out, but by the looks of it, he is fine. It's only the mast, so that's good. Material things are always to replace. If you have injuries, that's always a worst thing. But yeah, the contenders for the podium upcoming year, it's gonna be a very, very interesting season. And like, if I'm not mistaken, 2 years ago we had Israel on the calendar with Nicolas Goyard smashing it on the foil. But I'm I'm 100% sure that he will have to step up his game as well, because when it comes to the Pozo and Fuerte sailing, it's gonna be fin racing, full power. I think he has to step up his game as well. Meanwhile, I don't know where he has been training, but I know this guy's fast, and I know he's training as well. So it's going to be an interesting season. But saying that, the guys on the fin, they have improved their skills over the last 2 years so much that the differences between the guys who have been riding foils for a longer time, they have become so small that it's going to be all or nothing during the season. Meanwhile, we have Gia anchoring the boat again. Looks like he's on the anchor. AP flags down, and we're going for race number 5. Also, a little insight, like there was an over early actually in race number 4. Blanca Alaba was over, but Gia somehow decided to let the race go for what it is. Sometimes it's with such a small group, it's better. I have to say, just to continue. If there are more people on the course, it's a different story. Meanwhile, checking in on the YouTube. Don't forget to go to YouTube, find the Streaming Factory, DK Denmark, and leave your comment. Subscribe and leave your comment, as Pavel did at the moment. Are they also partying hard? Well, I think compared to the previous years, like in the beginning, they were partying harder. It looks like the guys are also getting older. They are, well, I will not say that they're super old, but they're getting older. They're getting towards 30, 31, 32, some of the guys. So becoming also a bit more serious and a little bit less parties. For sure, they know how to party, for sure. I know some of the guys, Papagayo, Las Americas, yeah. That's something that happened very often in the past, but I didn't hear any good party stories actually in the last winter season. So I think they are taking it a bit more easy. So basically, well, we are starting. Well, let's see if I can see the flag from here. By the looks of it, there's still no flag up, which leaves me some time to also tell you a little bit also about the Tenerife Windsurf Solution rental station, because that's where the whole trainings are organized from. Harko Jan Volkerts, he opened it in, if I'm not mistaken, 2014 or 13. And it has become like one of the most known windsurf centers in the world. Basically having all the material, all the high level team edition boards from 8 different brands, sails the same thing, like 8-9 different brands of sails rigged with the right masts, carbon booms, just like the highest aspect of windsurfing equipment you can find there in the rental station. Well, how do you book it? Go to the website TWS-windsurf.com. There is a section where you can basically reserve your equipment. Depending on the season, I would say if you come in summer, make a pre-booking, because summer is the busiest season and you don't want to miss out on the equipment. They have so many nice toys there. It's a toy store. You walk in, you go down the stairs, because it's in a basement. It's around 100 square meters of basement. It's full of equipment. Also, the guys working there, they will welcome you in a very warm way. They will become your friends during your stay. It's just go there, relax. You don't have to rig your sail. You only have to choose what you want to use. The guys take care of it. They check the boards for you. They rig the sails for you. Bring the sails outside. The only thing you have to do there is take your board, bring it outside, write your name on the safety lists so they know that you're out. And for the rest, you just enjoy your holidays. It's like the most relaxed kind of holidays you can have. Someone taking care, having your private caddy basically, rigging up your sail, cleaning your stuff afterwards when you're finished, while you're drinking your beer at the bar next door. So definitely, if you are a windsurf enthusiastic, check it out. I think a lot of people already know that it exists, but if you don't, just go to the website, check what kind of gear they have. Also, you can follow them on their socials, because they are very active on socials. And yeah, if you want to have a winter escape, definitely Almedano is the place to be. Meanwhile, we're looking at the water. Looks like Matteo is racing. Matteo is on fin. Interesting. You're already on the back. You're still waiting for the starting procedure. And we have the groups again up in the screen. Blanca Alabau, Mark Palmer. I tried to do some research on Mark. He is living in the UK, but he's sailing with the Australian sail number. Did mainly some IFCA events and also the UK tour. So also a guy who can sail. Matteo Aquino, well, he doesn't need any further introduction, to be honest, because everybody will know him if you are like a windsurf enthusiastic. Yeah, then you would know him. Then we have Sam Stroosma, young and upcoming guy from the Netherlands. Michel Becker, mentioned before, made such huge progress this winter on the foil, showing the guys that they have to work hard to stay in front of him and cannot make any mistakes because Michel's there. Then Scott Harrison, another UK guy, sailing on JP Neil Pride, basically coming here every winter for a few years already, and just joining some of the races, joining the UK tour as well. So he is also a name which is he is here every year. Hugo Sjöberg, I still don't know if I pronounce his name right, but from Sweden, also still young guy, sailing on the duotone phonetic setup, and he has also made a huge progress. Then teammate as well, Ennio Del Pont, and yeah, he also made the switch to duotone phonetic this year, and looks like he's flying with the equipment. Then we have Enrico Marotti. Well, we can give him a little introduction, but like most of the people, they will know him. Definitely a contender for the 2023 season for the podium, for the world title. One to look out for. Very solid racer, and for sure he's gonna be up there in on the podium, at least on the events, if not maybe at the end of the year for the world title. He is one to look out for as well. Jordi Vonk, same thing, very good racer, very fast, very solid with his racing, like really. Yeah, he's just performing well every time, so that's a good thing. And then we have Bruno Martini, also one to look out for in the season. He's fast, he's strong, and yeah, he can also be out there. It's just the whole mix of guys. Who's gonna be on the podium now? Now, Antoine Albo is not joining anymore. You know, like he, well. Let's see if he's saying that he's retired, but I think he will be joining the events on the Canaries, because high wind racing, I think that's one thing he loves a lot. And there's some amazing footage out there from, if I'm not mistaken, 2 or 3 years ago in Fuerte, when it was like a full PWA season. Him fighting against Matteo Iachino and Pierre Mortefon. There's amazing drone footage out there. Which you can find on the Windsurfing TV or on YouTube. But yeah, definitely check it out. Those riders, they are fast. But I think Antoine will join some races, but not the full tour. So we will have to wait another few months to see who comes out on top on the podium as a world champion. And we are also curious, what do you think? Who's gonna be the number one this year? There are too many names, and it's too tricky to say. But maybe you guys can already share your thoughts about it on Facebook, on the TWS page, or on the YouTube channel from Streaming Factory. Make sure you subscribe and leave your comment there, so we can respond on that. Meanwhile, checking the comments if there are more comments. We are up for race number 5. Yellow flag is up, which means between 2 and 1 minute to go to the start of race number 5. And then we're going quite quick with this because we do 7 races, 2 times 7. This we do because, well, with such a small group, it goes quick, and also the wind will drop. According to the forecast, the wind will drop during the day, after 2-3 o'clock more or less. So we would like to take advantage of the good wind during the day. We have a little bit of kalima, which means it's very warm today, and it also makes the wind a little bit more unstable normally. Now at the moment, the guys lining up for race number 5 of the day here in Tenerife El Médano. By the looks of it, like in the last races as well, pin end is in favor. Like all the guys are starting down at pin end, meaning that like the angle of the line is best there at the bottom of the starting line. You see Guille, there's Matteo on the fin coming from the from the boat. Oh, this is gonna be interesting. And let's see if we have a good start or not. By the looks of it, it's over early because I don't see the green flag up. Yes, it's over early. So we are gonna do a general recall, which means back to the boat, start watch on 3 minutes, and back to start again. And that's how you train to become efficient in starting. And we have had this chats already with Marcek in the last live stream, with Sarah Jackson, Jenna Gibson, with a lot of riders actually, and they all say the same. Like, you will not make as many starts during an official race season than that you do here on the slalom course on Tenerife. Basically 15 starts a day, not counting over earlies, which means you can have between 15 and 20 starts a day, which can be basically a whole year of racing. So that's really the power of the TWS Pro Slalom trainings. As Eva mentioned before already in her interview, which she put up on the screen, you can sign up quite easily. If I'm not mistaken, it was trainings.twswindsurf.com. You can fill in your dates when you would like to come. You can select if you need a storage, because we're also organizing that, and transfers. So basically, we have the whole image covered, the whole pack, and we would take actually all the stress of organizing your travel on location away, because it's all organized. If you sign up, you can be 100% guaranteed that everything is organized perfectly. Racing, I don't even talk about, because it's organized so amazing with Guy on the water that, I think you already mentioned it already, that Guillermo is one of the guys who is has gone up in his level of being a race director so much that, he's nailing it. So we can have a look at another interview with Eva.
I just took the training over last year, like in the middle of the season. Honestly, it was a huge challenge for me, but was super nice. In the end, like I grew into it, I got to know the guys. It was really a super nice experience. And now this year, I do everything from the beginning on. So I do the transfers, I do the bookings, I do the communication with Guy and with the riders. And also this, like super fun. Like for me, this is like a perfect job actually. Like I get to know the riders, I'm like in a lot of contact with them. And still like I get to know what's happening in the water. And I'm very much involved in like all of this process. So the transfers, I do it with a team like Jacob and Matthew. It's super simple actually. Like in the end, we always get like a request and then we will like talk with a team about who's going to do the transfer and then they will do it. So you will be sure that for sure there will be a transfer for you. And the groups is always like a little bit a tricky one, no? Because you never know like how much the guys were improving. Of course, you always have like the top of the top and you always put them like in this one group. Those are the easy guys. The more difficult guys are the guys who are coming like new, the guys we haven't seen before. We don't know how they're handling the conditions here. So this is like always a little bit of a challenge to bring them into the groups. But in the end, also, you always communicate with them. You always communicate with the other riders. How was it? How was your training today? And if you do that on a daily basis, then usually you really get into it like super quick. So if you want to enter, we have a website. You go on the website, you book the training. You will get a mail with like the confirmation and everything. And this mail, you can like click a link and then you will get to your rider's login. And in this rider login, you can basically manage everything. Before we had like everything like a little bit on different clouds and whatever, and now everything is in one website. So that means your transfer booking in this website, your storage booking in this website, all your photos in this website too. So this one is like really making this work so much easier and also for you so much more controlled and so much more easy to access. See you soon.
And we are back. So yeah, Eva explaining everything about the trainings. Yeah, it's really interesting. Meanwhile, we have started race number, I have to think, race number 5. As we did general recall. Ooh, Matteo flying on Finn. Let's see, this is going to be an interesting battle. So going from pin end, now leading Enrico Marotti. Matteo Aquino on Finn in second. You know, now you're going to see the biggest difference with the foil. As the foil, you have a much higher average speed. So he's going to lose some spots. Knowing that he is an amazing racer on Finn. I think Michel passed him upwind. Now racing in 4th position is Sam or Hugo on the duathlon. Let me see. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be close racing. Mark Palmer on the back. Or is it Blanca? Yeah, it could be Blanca as well, yeah. As I mentioned before, it's for me, I'm watching on like a size of a tablet screen, so it's a bit difficult to see all the seal numbers. Ah, no, here's Mark going out on the Severn. So yeah, that's definitely Blanca there. Matteo is pushing on Finn. He is really going good, pushing the foils. But still on first Enrico, second Michel. But Michel has to push. No, it looks like Matteo is actually in front of Michel. Wow, that's pretty impressive. Knowing the conditions around 20 to 25 knots, 26 knots more or less. It's really impressive that he keeps up with Finn, keeps the Finn alive, let's say. As mentioned in different interviews before already, that the guys, they are until 25 knots, they're in foils. Basically, they register small slalom board with their 6.8 and 5.8 or 5.5, depends on which brand you're sailing. So there's not a lot of Finn racing going on. Basically, I think it will only be Canaries. And meanwhile, we have some comments as well during the race. We will try to get to those questions. So at the last reach, we're already... Whoa, that's close, eh? Enrico will take the win, followed by Matteo and Finn. Pretty sure about that. Yes, Matteo and Finn. That's impressive. Really impressive. With these kind of conditions, managed to push on the Finn. Then we have Michel in third, again up there in the top spots. I think we have Hugo here, from Sweden, in fourth, because Ennio we just saw here at the live booth. Then he basically bended some of his screws from the foil, so he will be out. So yeah, that must be Hugo. There are not so many riders on the water at the moment. I guess at the boat I can see that Jordi is still hanging around at the boat. Yes. So I've got some things. We got some comments. Robert Wieske. This year in PWA they can register only 2 wings. Next year maybe 1. In IFCA you can register only 1 foil and race only in light wind. What kind of use they have to always go out also in strong winds with the foil? I hope that Finn will come back more than before, because it's really more fun and useful and less dangerous than foil. That's a pretty interesting one, Robert. Like saying that, like Finn and foil less dangerous. It's what I've seen here during the last years when the foil just came up, is that before foil came out, maybe it's going to change right now because the guys, they have much more control on the foils. But in the beginning, I would say that the foils, we definitely had less injuries than with Finn before. As I remember, one winter we had like 3 or 4 guys with stitches, because with the Finn they would go more all in, really go to the most tiniest gaps between the riders and the marks to get their other position, the better position. And yeah, crashes were happening more often. Of course, this winter we have seen also already some footage from the riders that they were crashing on the foil. That can be due to plastic in the water, trash in the water, and just suddenly going from like 32, 34 knots to 0. So yeah, that's definitely one thing. You know, with the foil, if you hit something, it's just direct nosedive into catapult and go for a swim. The most scariest one we have seen is from Enrico Marotti and Pierre Mortefon. But like, luckily Pierre has such a quick reaction, so he could jump off on time before making any more damage to Enrico. So it's interesting. Like, I don't know how it's going to be in racing, how many crashes or injuries we will have, if it's more dangerous or not. I think with the foil, the guys are aware of the damage they can cause with their equipment, with their foils. In the back of their head, they are aware of it. So if the gap might be just possible to do, but like too dangerous, maybe they're not even going for it. So it's a pretty interesting one. What kind of use they have to always go out in strong winds with the foil? That's also a pretty interesting question, to be honest. If you depends really on the place where you're sailing. If you have strong winds, but really gusty strong winds, so let's say you have conditions between 25 and 35 knots, it could be that with the foil, the guys, they're going to be more consistent, more like the average speed will be higher in the lulls. Like if there's like gaps and everything in the wind, they will be able to fly the whole course. And I think that's in the high winds, it's also going to happen that they're going to use the foils more often. But I completely agree with you that the fin is definitely one thing to watch, which is really, yeah, like the adrenaline you get from it, the speed you see, the impact, the noise. It's just it's a different perspective. It's a different way of racing. So I'm actually with you that I prefer to see fin racing, but having seen some foil racing here during the winter, it's good to watch. And the guys are pushing, and like speed wise, I would say they're doing almost same speeds on foil than on fin. It's the same thing more or less. So it's an interesting discussion which have been going on for a long time already, in the last years, basically, when the decision was made to use more foils. It's a really interesting discussion to see, and also like how hyped people are as soon as they see fin racing. It still says a lot to me, at least, that fin racing is something. It is just a different dimension. So it's a pretty interesting one, Robert. Thank you for your message. Then we have a message from Oleg. Sorry, Oleg, I will not even try to pronounce your last name because it looks too difficult to me. But I know who's Oleg. Oleg also participated in the training a few times already. And he's riding, it's 20 to 22 knots now. I'd say it is medium fin gear conditions. Best of luck for boys and girls on the racetrack. So yeah, medium board. Like 7.8, 8.4, like those kind of setups, we won't see them that much anymore. So that's basically a thing which will be less existent during the year, as they will go up to 25 knots on foil, as the guys already said. But it's really interesting how the battle foil fin is gonna be, because there are, like, if you check at the events, there are so many different destinations that there's like so many different kind of conditions, I have to say, that it's going to be interesting to see who's the most consistent in both, in like fin and foil. That's going to be the question. But seeing the guys sailing now, they already are super consistent in both, in fin and foil. So that's the question. Meanwhile, race number 6, the before last race we have before the break. The guys lining up, the fleet has become a little bit smaller. Matteo again at the boat, and the rest of the pack starting more to pin end. I think it has an advantage as a fin rider to start from the top to keep your speed. Okay, and we're lining up for the start number 6. Let's see if Matteo is gonna roll them from the top, which most likely is gonna happen. I see a green flag up. It looks like, but it looks like it is a good start. Oh, this is very close racing. So we have Michel Becker, Jordi Vonk, by the looks of his wetsuit. Then Matteo Aquino, and on the back we have Blanca. And from pin end, starting Enrico. So this is going to be an interesting first mark rounding. Wow. Matteo rounding first. And then followed by Enrico. Then Jordi. And then Michel. So this is a pretty interesting race so far. Seeing again that Finn is still alive. People are still able to race fins against foil. So that's a really nice thing to see. Let's see how it comes out at the first outside jibe mark. I have the feeling that some guys, they just skipped and joined from the top again. Okay, Matteo rounding first. Second is gonna be Jordi for sure. Third, Enrico Marotti. Fourth, Michel Becker. So this would be your qualifying position, like 4th position in PLBA, to be able to go to the next round. But the fight is still on, as I can see from here, like for the 4th and 5th position. Actually for the 4th position, between Michel and Hugo. But still pushing hard, Matteo on the fin. Jordi just passed him. Let's see where Matteo can bring it to. Like, if he can still keep up and take second before Enrico. So this is really close racing, as we can also expect during the season. My guess is Jordi will be first at the mark. Then Enrico rolled Matteo, maybe? It's close. It's really close. Matteo in second still. And then it will be the... Yeah, that's going to be the interesting one, yeah. He slowed down a little bit, so it's going to be a head-to-head race to the finish for Enrico and Matteo. But Enrico took a little bit wider line. He had the right swell, so he managed to plane a bit through the... or fly through the jibe. Oh, the angle is too difficult to see. So we are finishing race 6, and meanwhile we have another interview ready with Matteo Iachino.
Yeah, for the race season I prepare here in Tenerife for fin and foil. We do have plenty of races, like 4 times a week, 15 starts a day most of the times, unless we have like a super light wind, maybe we have 2 sessions of 7 or something, we play around a bit with gear. But yeah, it's a sick preparation because you can actually see fin versus foil, a lot of fin, a lot of foil, and then with the other guys as well, so it's a good mix. I guess we're gonna expect to change from foil down to fin in kind of similar conditions to last year, even though we chopped down like 1 wing. So now we have only 2 front wings in the range to register this year for the upcoming PWA. But the range of the wings like kind of went wider, so we can go kind of on a smaller wing earlier, already in lighter winds. And in the end we can hold it forever. So I guess with the 6.5 powered up I'm gonna be on fin. Let's say if it gusts over 30 knots, has to be like steadily over 25, gusting over 30, then you have a good chance to be on fin. For 2023, well, we did change all the gear as we always do. We improved the foil boards, we improved the slalom boards. The new AG6, the new foil sail is really nice. We still have to receive the latest the production sails, but the protos I've been testing and training on the whole winter, they're working really nice. We have an impressive step forward. So yeah, we did a great job. Also with Cedric, is a newcomer in the team in the last 2 years, and we were testing a lot together. So I guess we have really nice upgrades for 2023. It is hard to say one name as an opponent for this year because there are many guys, and on top of that, until you don't put everything that you had like as the best gear together, you actually don't know your performance, and then you don't know the other guy's performance either, no? So basically we don't compete on the top gear, no? So maybe we test the mast and we go through the mast and you select the best mast. Same for the foil, the front wings, same for the sails, the board. So and the best combination, you keep it like not secret, but let's say you keep it as a joker for the first competition. So until the first competition, you actually don't know exactly how every rider will perform. On the other hand, I guess, yeah, like Jordi, Maciek, Enrico, Pierre, Bruno. I mean, most of the guys that were here, I guess they are the top riders. Johan, the Danish guy as well, he was here, was impressive on foil. And obviously Finn is an upcoming talent, young gun that is going to be a rookie of the year in PWA this year. No, but really it's like you can't really pick one name. So there are like a few names, and I guess depending on the event, because of foil and fin, is going to be the opponents are going to be different. So if you guys are really complete on both fin and foil, others are like really foil oriented now, that's kind of smart, because in the end 90% I guess is going to be on foil, maybe 80, but it's the majority. So in the end we just have to wait until the first competition and then see the results. Well, the thing I look most forward to for this year is the comeback of the PWA to Garda. That is Italy. I'm not from Garda, even though many people they think I am from. I'm from Garda, but I'm not. I'm from the sea, close to it's called Savona, Albisola, is a city close to France. And but I've been going to Garda for ages because obviously it's the mecca of windsurfing in Italy, especially in summertime. So it's really nice to have a proper event back in Italy after so many years. I think it's been 35 years since the last PWA event, PBA event in Garda. And then for sure I'm looking forward to go to Pozo. I never had the chance to compete slalom in Pozo, and I always heard story about it. I started my first PWA career and my first PWA year was the year after they stopped Pozo. So I always had this kind of regret that I never compete there. And luckily this year we're gonna have the chance to compete in Posa. I hope we're gonna get like sick conditions like nuclear winds and stuff, and it's gonna be really fun to compete there. I think the foil is improving every year, like actually in an incredible way. Like it's getting faster, better, easier to control, like in all the aspects. I personally didn't think it would have happened so fast and so good. I am more of a fin guy. I like better fin. I go on foil most of the time because the competitions are on foil, but I like better still the feeling of the fin because I grew up on it and I just like it better. But performance-wise, I think the foil, if everything is correct, that means that it's not shallow, no breaking waves and stuff. I think it's gonna be way better than fin in performance in any kind of condition already like next year, I would say, even in nuking winds. The point is that I would love to see the slalom coming back into breaking waves, into like different scenarios, let's say, and to play around with the ocean more as it was in the past, like in the Torch, in this final in Okipa that we are like sometimes we look at with Bjorn and Anders fighting out and stuff. And this was like actually throughout the shore break and throughout breaking waves. And this is never gonna be possible on a foil. You can develop whatever you want, but when you get into white water or something, it cavitates and you have the mass, so you touch the rocks or whatever. So I think, and I hope we're gonna preserve the fin to be able to kind of bring this show back, because it's a big show for all the windsurfing world and it's a big fun for us. And apart from this, if we compete in like, let's say more normal and flat conditions, then the foil is gonna be by far the best.
Pretty interesting interview with Matteo. Also, like the guys, they are more or less the same. If you ask them like in what kind of conditions you would change to fin, they all say the same for now. Like 25 to 30 knots steady, fin would be better. So that's gonna be an interesting thing to see. Like especially on some places where it can be super windy, but mostly it's like medium wind, like 18, 19 wind knots of wind. So it's gonna be interesting. Meanwhile, we are looking at the screen for race number 7 of today, which is gonna be the last race for the first session. Today the guys are gonna do 2 sessions of 7 races. We are gonna live stream only 1 session, as we did in the last live streams as well. So we are off to a good start. See a green flag on, and it's pretty close racing. Starting on pin end, we had Blanca, I could see there, Jordi Vonk, Enrico Marotti, Matteo still pushing on fin. That's also like what he said in his interview. He comes from a fin background. He still likes to race more on fin race, like race more on the fin. He likes the whole thing, the adrenaline, the contact. And he's actually rounding in first. I also saw a comment on YouTube that it's a nice statement from Matteo that he's on the fin and pushing for it. From let me see. Viervoegsig is the name of the guy who responded to this. Thanks for your comment. Meanwhile, we're looking at the screen, racing to the first outside jibe mark. Let's see who comes out best of this battle. The battle is on for definitely top 4. It's going to be more or less the same as in previous races. Meanwhile, we see already Guillaume making some content on the outside. Matteo rounding first. Second position, Enrico Marotti. Then third, Michel Becker. Fourth is going to be Jordi. Fifth is going to be Hugo. Then on 6th, Sam. And let's see who comes after. That must be Blanca and Mark Palmer. So you can see that Matteo is still pushing hard on fin. By my guess, like looking at the wind and on the side, he's on a very small board, to be honest. I think he's like he could be on like 7-0 and small board, but because the width of the board is pretty small to be a medium from my point of view. So my bet would be like a small board with a 7 or 7 something, because sail size wise it looks like it's 7-7-8, but like 7-8 you would usually not ride on the small board. So going out to the last jibe mark, Matteo is killing it on the fin. Let's see if he can keep up to the end of the race. Enrico pushing for second. Then in third, Michel Becker. Respect for Matteo, keeping the fin alive. Thanks. This is what we like to see. Fin racing, flying over the water with only the fin and the board going. Looks like Matteo has it. In second, Enrico Marotti. And the rest of the race, somewhere on the back. But I'm pretty sure Michel took third. And that means that we are already finished for the first series. But I still want to go to the last comment, which was from Matt Hansen. What size sail and board do you think Matteo is using? Yeah, I think, well, we see him now going in. Could be... Ooh, it's difficult. By the looks of it, it's a small board for sure, like a 98 or 99. I don't know the range of Severn. With a 7.0 or 6.8. I'm pretty sure about that. But it's nonetheless, it's a very, very good performance from Matteo, pushing the foils. It takes a lot of skill to still beat the foil guys in these kind of conditions. And yeah, that's it's good to see the fin is still alive. Meanwhile, checking if there are any more comments. But yeah, Robert respond. No worries, Robert. Oh, I got your message. I hope I answered it to the best way possible. That you got the answer you wanted. And there's also the one I forgot from Robert as well. Foil is getting really too expensive. What the factory want? To have a sport practiced only from very rich people. Interesting point. But yeah, like the foils, they are getting more expensive. I agree on it, but yeah, it's foils are just like Formula 1. It's like really high-end racing, small differences in wings and things. So it's really, yeah, I agree 100% that it's an expensive sport. But in general, like windsurfing is expensive. But now, also we are at the beginning of like the race foils. Like the development is still going on. Second-hand market is there, but still small. So within a few years, for most of the people which are willing to ride like a slalom foil, but are not competing, I think there will be affordable foils on the market as well. Like, although it will be second-hand, but somehow the second-hand market is something that has to still start with this race foils. So that's one thing. It will come, but yeah, windsurfing in general is not a very cheap sport, but it's an amazing sport that connects a lot of people together. Like we are trying to get this to your sofa at home from wherever you're watching. I hope you enjoyed the show. So this was it for today, and actually it was also, I think, the last live stream of. We are still thinking about a last one, but I know that a lot of guys are gonna leave in the next week. So, like today, it was still nice to watch like a group of around 8, 9, 10 riders. If it's gonna be the last one for this winter, for sure. Looking at Finn, we would like to try to build it bigger maybe next year to see how that goes. Of course, we would like to have your feedback from home if there is anything you would like to see different, or any kind of things we can add to the show. Yeah, so let's see how this will go. As long as we are able to do this here, we can still bring it to your sofa, to your seat at home, so you have something to watch. I was just checking if there were any more comments, because I don't want to leave anyone with questions unanswered. As far as I can see, we don't have any more comments, not on the YouTube. Thanks, Pavel, for your compliment. We try to do our best. Finn, like on the background, organizing the cameras together with Jane. It's their job. They are professionals. I'm by far not a professional. I'm just doing it for the love of the sport. And since I know a lot of things about the trainings, as I've been organizing the trainings myself for 4 years. Yeah, just as I said, for the love of the sport, to entertain you guys at home. And I think we're gonna wrap it up. So big thanks to Finn Noer from NoerStick. Don't forget to order your NoerStick, your extensions. Just go to the web shop, buy 2, 3, 4 for your friends, for yourself. And well, like also Jane for being out there filming. And of course, all the guys racing, all the people watching at home, thank you very much for joining the show. And we wish you a very, very nice Sunday.